One nun vanished in Chicago, 1995. 27 years later, the Bible exposes a criminal syndicate. The Vanishing in 1995, a nun stepped into Chicago's shadows and disappeared. 27 years later, her Bible whispered secrets of a syndicate that shook a city. The wind howled through Chicago's South Side on November 3, 1995, rattling the stained glass windows of St. Cecilia's Convent. Tucked between crumbling tenements and neon-lit liquor stores, the convent was a quiet sanctuary, its brick walls hiding the lives of 12 sisters dedicated to prayer and service. Sister Bernadette, 42, was the convent's bookkeeper, her sharp mind and steady hands, balancing ledgers with a precision that earned her quiet respect. With her wire-rimmed glasses and soft Irish lilt, she was unassuming, but her hazel eyes held a fire that missed nothing. She spent evenings poring over numbers, ensuring every penny from the parish's collections was accounted for. But that night something changed. Bernadette left her office at 8 p.m., her habit dusted with chalk from the convent school, and walked into the icy streets. She never came back. Morning broke cold and grey, the convent stirring with unease. Sister Margaret, the prioress, noticed Bernadette's absence at dawn prayers. Her room was tidy, her bed untouched, her rosary missing from its hook. A ledger lay open on her desk, its pages marked with cryptic notes in her neat script. Discrepancy. $10,000, source unknown. By noon, panic set in. Margaret called the Chicago PD and Detective Frank Malone arrived, his trench coat damp from the drizzle. He took statements, noting the sisters' shock. A janitor, Eddie Walsh, saw Bernadette leave, saying she seemed agitated, clutching a Bible. No coat, no purse, just her habit and a scarf. Malone searched the convent, the school, the alleys behind Halsted Street. Nothing. The Chicago Tribune ran a brief story. None missing from Southside Convent. Margaret told reporters, Sister Bernadette is steadfast. She'll return. But weeks passed, and she didn't. The convent's rhythm faltered. Sisters whispered during Vespers, their prayers heavy with fear. Margaret found Bernadette's Bible in the chapel, its pages dog-eared, but no clues. The police investigation sputtered. Malone reported no signs of foul play, no blood, no witnesses. Parishioners speculated maybe Bernadette had fled her vows, overwhelmed by the city's grit. The Archdiocese of Chicago endorsed this, stating, Sister Bernadette may have sought a new path, we pray for her. But her niece, Rachel Ortiz, then 18, didn't buy it. Rachel, raised by Bernadette after her mother's death, knew her aunt's devotion. She wouldn't leave me, Rachel told Malone, tears in her eyes. By spring 1996, the case went cold, Bernadette's name fading into Chicago's endless churn of unsolved mysteries. 27 years later, in 2022, Chicago's South Side had shifted. Gentrification crept in, turning tenements into condos. St. Cecilia's Convent was now a community center, its chapel a yoga studio. Rachel Ortiz, now 45, was a forensic accountant in Logan Square, her life marked by quiet competence and unresolved grief. That summer, Rachel inherited Bernadette's old Bible from Margaret, who'd kept it after the convent closed. On July 10th, Rachel opened it, expecting nostalgia. Instead, a folded paper slipped out, covered in Bernadette's script, numbers, dates, and coded symbols. One line stood out, the money moves through St. Cecilia's, but not to God. Rachel's breath caught. Was this why Bernadette vanished? Rachel contacted Detective Lena Carter, a CPD veteran who'd worked cold cases since Malone's retirement. Carter, 52, met Rachel at a diner, her notepad ready. The Bible's notes were cryptic, but Rachel, with her accounting expertise, saw patterns, transfers to unknown accounts, labeled charity, but lacking receipts. Carter pulled the 1995 case file, thin and yellowed. A photo showed Bernadette at a parish fundraiser, smiling beside Father Patrick Doyle, the pastor. Rachel remembered Doyle, charming, ambitious, always at the convent. Carter noted a 1995 memo from the Archdiocese urging Malone to limit inquiries into parish finances. Rachel's gut twisted. Had the church silenced Bernadette's questions? Rachel dug into the notes at home, her apartment lit by a single lamp. A name appeared in code, E. Sullivan. Eddie Sullivan, a local bar owner, had donated heavily to St. Cecilia's in 1995. Rachel knew his name from news clippings, suspected ties to the O'Brien Syndicate, a Chicago mob outfit. Was Bernadette onto them? That night, Rachel couldn't sleep, hearing her aunt's voice. The truth is in the numbers. She vowed to follow the trail, no matter where it led. As Rachel drifted off, her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Leave the Bible alone, or you'll vanish too. The coded Bible held a nun's secrets, written in code. Its numbers named a syndicate that wouldn't stay buried. Rachel Ortiz stared at the text. Leave the Bible alone, or you'll vanish too. Her Chicago apartment suddenly too quiet. It was 2 a.m., July 11th, 2022, the Bible open on her table, its coded notes glowing under the lamp. The threat felt like a blade, but Rachel wasn't backing down. Her aunt, Sister Bernadette, had died for these numbers, and Rachel owed her the truth. She photographed the note, locked her doors, and called Detective Lena Carter. Someone knows I have the Bible, Rachel said, her voice steady despite her fear. Carter promised to trace the number but warned, Stay low, Rachel. This smells like organized crime. Rachel nodded, her resolve hardening. She'd decode the Bible no matter the risk. By morning, Rachel spread the notes across her dining table, her accounting software humming. The symbols, crosses, circles, dashes, formed a substitution cipher, mapping to dates and amounts. One entry read, 11,195, 15K, ES to PD, Eddie Sullivan to Patrick Doyle. Rachel cross-checked parish records, accessed through a friend at the Archdiocese. St. Cecilia's reported $15,000 in donations that week, no donor listed. Rachel's pulse quickened. The money was dirty, funneled through the church. She found another name in code, R. Malone. Frank Malone, the 1995 detective. Rachel's trust in the police wavered. Had Malone been bought? Rachel met Carter at CPD headquarters, the Bible's notes in a locked briefcase. Carter's face was grim. The text came from a burner phone, untraceable. But I pulled Sullivan's file. He's still alive, 78, runs a dive bar in Bridgeport. O'Brien Syndicate ties, never convicted. Rachel showed the decoded entries. Carter frowned. Doyle's retired, lives in Evanston. Malone's dead, heart attack in 2005. If they were in on it, someone's still protecting the money. Rachel asked about the 1995 memo. Carter dug into the file, finding a second note. Archbishop Callahan to Malone, 11/4/95. Cease financial inquiries. Focus on runaway theory. Rachel's anger flared. The church had buried Bernadette's case. Rachel visited St. Cecilia's Community Center, hoping for old records. The manager, Teresa Vega, 50, remembered Bernadette. She was kind but serious, Teresa said, leading Rachel to a storage room. The parish was flush with cash in 95, but the school never saw it. Rachel found a 1995 ledger, its pages matching Bernadette's notes. Unexplained deposits, signed by Doyle. A loose photo slipped out, Bernadette with Eddie Sullivan, at a parish picnic, his smile too sharp. Teresa hesitated. Sullivan was always around, dropping off cash. Bernadette didn't trust him. Rachel pocketed the photo, her suspicion growing. That evening, Rachel tracked down Father Doyle's address in Evanston. She called, posing as a parishioner, but his housekeeper said he was unwell, no visitors. Rachel decided to visit anyway. But first, she needed Sullivan's story. She drove to his bar, the Shamrock, a dim hole-in-the-wall reeking of stale beer. Sullivan, frail but cunning, eyed her warily. Bernadette, good woman, sad case, he said, sipping whiskey. Rachel showed the picnic photo. You gave her money. Why? Sullivan's smile vanished. Charity, nothing more. You're digging up trouble, girl. Rachel left, his warning ringing in her ears. Back home, Rachel decoded another note. Meet ES 11-395, midnight, Pier. The night Bernadette vanished. Had she confronted Sullivan? As Rachel locked her briefcase, her doorbell rang. No one was there, but an envelope waited on her step, typed, no signature. The numbers lead to Lake Michigan. Rachel's phone rang. Carter, her voice urgent. We found a body in Lake Michigan, female, weighted down. It's been there since '95. The body in the Lake A body sank beneath Chicago's waves. Its discovery named a nun who dared to count the Syndicate's sins. Rachel Ortiz gripped her phone, Detective Lena Carter's words chilling her. A body in Lake Michigan, female, weighted down. The Chicago dawn was gray, July 12, 2022, rain streaking her apartment windows. The typed note, the numbers lead to Lake Michigan, sat beside Bernadette's Bible, its coded entries now a map to murder. Rachel's heart pounded. Was this her aunt, preserved in the lake's cold depths? She called Carter, demanding details. Fishermen found it near Navy Pier, Carter said. Skeletonized, but the habits intact. We're testing DNA. Rachel's throat tightened. Bernadette had met Eddie Sullivan at the pier that night in 1995. Had he killed her? Rachel drove to Navy Pier, the crime scene taped off, police boats bobbing in the choppy water. Carter met her, showing a photo. A decayed habit, black and white, snagged on a concrete block. No ID yet, Carter said. But the blocks, from a '95 construction site owned by Sullivan's company. Rachel's anger surged. Sullivan wasn't just a donor, he was a player. She told Carter about the pier meeting note. Bernadette knew his money was dirty, Rachel said. Carter nodded. We're bringing Sullivan in, but the O'Brien Syndicate's still active. They don't like loose ends. Rachel felt eyes on her, the pier's crowd suddenly menacing. Rachel visited the Archdiocese archives, seeking Doyle's 1995 financials. A clerk, Father James Kelly, 60, helped her, his hands nervous. Those records are restricted, he said, but Rachel's persistence won out. She found a 1995 audit, buried in a locked file. St. Cecilia's received $200,000 from anonymous donors, approved by Doyle and Archbishop Callahan. Bernadette's initials were scratched out on the approval line. She refused to sign, Rachel whispered. Kelly glanced away. Bernadette asked questions. Callahan didn't like it. Rachel photocopied the audit, her suspicion of Callahan growing. Was he part of the syndicate? Rachel confronted Sullivan at the Shamrock, showing the pier note. You met her that night, she accused. Sullivan's eyes narrowed. She came to me, nosy about my donations. I told her to back off. Never saw her again. Rachel didn't believe him. Her body's in the lake, weighted with your concrete. Sullivan laughed cold. Prove it, sweetheart. Rachel stormed out, his laughter haunting her. She called Carter, urging a search of Sullivan's 1995 properties. Carter agreed, but warned, the Archdiocese is pushing back. Someone's scared. That evening, Rachel decoded another Bible entry. FM took $10K, closed case. Frank Malone, again. She searched his 1995 reports, finding a discrepancy. Malone logged no interviews after November 4th, despite claiming 20 witnesses. Had he been paid to look away? Rachel visited Malone's sister, Clara, 65, in Pilsen. Frank was stressed in '95, Clara said. Said the church was bigger than him. He got a new watch fancy, right after that case. Rachel's heart sank. Malone had betrayed Bernadette. As Rachel left Clara's house, a car idled across the street, its driver hidden. She memorized the plate and drove home, checking her rear view. That night, another envelope appeared. The priest's hands hold the key. Carter called, her voice grim. The lake body's DNA matches Bernadette, and there's a bullet in her skull, execution style. The bullet's trail a bullet ended a nun's quest. Its path led to a priest who hid behind a holy mask. Rachel Ortiz sat in her Chicago apartment, the news of Sister Bernadette's execution-style murder crashing over her. It was July 24, 2022, the typed note, the priest's hands. Hold the key on her table, beside the Bible's decoded secrets. Detective Lena Carter confirmed the bullet, a .40 caliber, common in 1995 mob hits, lodged in Bernadette's skull. The concrete block traced to Sullivan's company, but he denied involvement, his alibi backed by a corrupt cop. Rachel's hands shook. Her aunt had been shot, sunk in Lake Michigan, for uncovering the Syndicate's money through St. Cecilia's. Father Patrick Doyle's name pulsed in her mind. Had he pulled the trigger? Rachel met Carter at the morgue, where Bernadette's remains lay under harsh light. The habit was brittle, but a rosary bead clutched in her skeletal hand matched the one Rachel remembered. Carter's face was drawn. No fingerprints, but we found a second bullet fragment in the lake bed, same caliber. Ballistics are running. Rachel told Carter about the audit and Callahan's role. Doyle signed off millions, laundered through the parish, she said. Carter pulled Doyle's file. Reassigned to Evanston in 1996. Pastoral realignment. The church protected him, Rachel said. Carter nodded, arranging to question Doyle, but warned. The O'Brien syndicates got eyes in the CPD. We're watching our own. Rachel visited Father Doyle's Evanston home, a tidy bungalow. His housekeeper, Clara, barred her, but Rachel glimpsed Doyle through a window. Frail, oxygen mask on, but alert. She left a note. I know about the money. Hours later, her phone buzzed with a blocked call, a raspy voice. You're stirring. Ghosts, Ortiz. Let them sleep. Rachel's skin crawled. Doyle or his syndicate allies? She called Carter, who'd searched Sullivan's properties. A 1995 warehouse near the pier had been demolished, but its records showed cash payments to St. Cecilia's, signed by Doyle and Sullivan. They were partners, Carter said. Rachel dug into Callahan's past, finding a 1995 letter from the Vatican praising his stewardship. But a Chicago Catholic newsletter hinted at dissent. An unnamed nun had questioned his finances, ignored by clergy. Bernadette. Rachel contacted the newsletter's editor, Tom, 75, now retired. She came to me, Tom said, voice low. Said, the parish was a front for mob money. I wrote it, but Callahan killed the story. She vanished days later. Tom gave Rachel a photo. Callahan with Sullivan and Doyle at a 1994 gala, laughing. They were untouchable, he said. Rachel decoded another note. Safe, basement, St. Cecilia's. A safe? She explored the community center's basement, now a storage area. Behind a furnace, she found a rusted safe, locked tight. She called Carter, who'd need a warrant. As Rachel left, footsteps echoed above. She hid, heart pounding, as a figure passed, a man, his face masked, muttering about cleaning up. Rachel slipped out, unseen but shaken. That night, another envelope waited. The safe holds the truth, but the lake keeps it. Rachel woke to a voicemail from Carter, panicked. The safe's been broken open, it's empty, and Sullivan's bar just exploded. The empty safe stood empty, its secrets stolen. A nun's coded warnings named the hands that took them. Rachel Ortiz stared at her phone. Detective Lena Carter's voicemail replaying, the safe's been empty, Sullivan's bar just exploded. It was August 1st, 2022, Chicago's heat suffocating her apartment. The typed note, the safe holds the truth but the lake keeps it, mocked her beside Bernadette's Bible. The safe, hidden in St. Cecilia's basement, was her last hope for proof of the syndicate's crimes. Now it was empty, and Sullivan's explosion, arson, Carter suspected, was no coincidence. Rachel's resolve hardened. Someone was erasing evidence, and she was next. Rachel met Carter at the Shamrock's ruins, cordoned off, fire crews dousing embers. Sullivan was critical, burned in the blast. No suspects yet, Carter said, but the O'Brien syndicate's claiming it was a gas leak. Bullshit. Rachel told Carter about the masked man at the basement. He knew about the safe, she said. Carter's eyes narrowed. We found pry marks, fresh. Someone got there first. They searched Sullivan's hospital records. He'd named Doyle as his emergency contact. Rachel's suspicion grew. Doyle wasn't just complicit, he was orchestrating. Rachel revisited the community center, asking Teresa about the basement. Nobody goes down there, Teresa said, but her eyes flickered. Except my uncle, Joe, the old janitor. He fixed pipes in '95, said Doyle locked stuff away. Rachel pressed Joe, 82, at his nursing home. Doyle had a safe, Joe wheezed. Bernadette saw him stashing cash, asked me about it. I told her to stay quiet. Rachel's heart sank. Did she open it? Joe nodded. Once. Found papers, numbers. She was scared, said she'd tell the bishop. Rachel left, Joe's guilt heavy in the air. Rachel decoded another Bible entry. RM met ES Pier 11 to 395. Frank Malone with Sullivan the night Bernadette died. She searched Malone's old CPD logs. No record of a Pier meeting, but a 1995 bank statement showed a $10,000 deposit, unmarked. Malone was dirty, and Rachel bet he'd seen her aunt's murder. She called Carter, who'd questioned Doyle. He's dodging, Carter said. Claims he was sick in '95, no memory of Bernadette. But his bank had $50,000 deposits, same dates as Sullivan's. Rachel's anger surged. He's lying. Rachel staked out Doyle's apartment, spotting a visitor, Senator John Callahan, the Archbishop's nephew, now a Chicago alderman. Callahan? She snapped photos, her mind racing. Was the syndicate political? That night, Carter called with news. The safe's lock had traces of Sullivan's DNA. He opened it recently, Carter said. But whatever was inside, gone. Rachel's hope dimmed, but she kept decoding. As Rachel locked her door, a shadow passed her window. She grabbed her keys, heart pounding. On her doorstep, a new note. The priest's ledger names the damned. Rachel's phone pinged, a video from an unknown sender showing Bernadette in 1995, arguing with Doyle at the pier, a gun glinting in his hand. The Pier's witness video showed a nun's final stand. Its shadows hid a killer who still walked free. Rachel Ortiz froze. The anonymous video paused on her laptop. Sister Bernadette, her habit whipping in the 1995 Chicago wind, facing Father Patrick Doyle on Navy Pier, his gun gleaming. It was August 10th, 2022. The Bible's note. The priest's ledger names the damned, beside her. The footage, grainy and silent, cut off as Doyle raised the gun. Rachel's hand shook. This was Bernadette's last moment, captured by someone, unknown. She sent the video to Detective Lena Carter, writing, Doyle killed her. Find him. Her apartment felt like a trap, every creak a threat. Who'd sent the video, and why now? Carter met Rachel at a CPD safe house, her face grim. The video's authentic. Timestamp matches 95. We're arresting Doyle, but he's vanished. Left Evanston last night. Rachel showed the note about the ledger. Bernadette found proof of their money, she said. Carter nodded, pulling Sullivan's hospital chart. He'd died from his burns, muttering about Doyle's book. What book? Rachel asked. Carter dug into Doyle's file, finding a 1996 transfer to a rural parish after an audit issue. The archdiocese buried him, Carter said. Rachel knew they'd buried Bernadette, too. Rachel revisited Joe, the janitor, showing the video still. Joe wept. "I was there," he confessed. "Doyle paid me to watch the pier, keep people away. I saw Bernadette, heard her yell about money. Then the shot. I ran." Rachel's stomach churned. "Why didn't you tell?" Joe shrugged, broken. "They owned me." Rachel left, his cowardice fueling her. She decoded another note. Ledger, Doyle's office, St. C. She searched the community center's old rectory, finding a locked desk. Inside, a hidden compartment held a key etched with vault. A bank vault? Rachel confronted Senator Callahan at a Chicago fundraiser, showing the audit. "Your uncle covered for Doyle," she accused. Callahan's smile was ice. "Careful, Ms. Ortiz. The church doesn't like slander." Rachel didn't flinch. "Bernadette's body says otherwise." Callahan walked away, but his glance betrayed fear. Rachel called Carter, who'd traced the video's IP to a burner server. "Someone's helping you," Carter said, "but they're hiding." Rachel wondered, a whistleblower or a trap. That evening, Rachel searched bank records, finding a 1995 vault rental under Doyle's name at First Chicago Bank. She needed the key, but as she left her apartment, a car followed. Its lights too close. She lost it in traffic, heart racing. Rachel arrived home to find her door ajar, the Bible open on her table, a new page marked. "The vault holds the end." The vault's secrets key unlocked a priest's vault. Its contents named a syndicate that bled a city dry. Rachel Ortiz clutched the vault key. Her Chicago apartment violated the Bible's new mark. The vault holds the end, a warning or a guide. It was August 15, 2022. The video of Bernadette's murder still searing her mind. Father Patrick Doyle was missing, Eddie Sullivan was dead, and the O'Brien Syndicate was closing in. The key, hidden in Doyle's desk, led to a First Chicago bank vault, where Rachel bet Bernadette's ledger waited. She called Detective Lena Carter, sharing the key. "We'll open the vault," Carter said, "but Doyle's in the wind, and the Archdiocese is lawyering up." Rachel felt the clock ticking. She needed that ledger before it vanished too. Rachel met Carter at First Chicago Bank, the key burning in her pocket. The vault manager, wary, confirmed Doyle's rental, active since 1995. Inside Vault 312, they found a steel box, locked. The key fit, revealing a leather ledger, its pages filled with Bernadette's script. Names, dates, amounts, Sullivan, Callahan, Doyle, even Malone. Millions laundered through St. Cecilia's, funneled to the Syndicate. One entry read, 11/3/95, be confronted, silenced. Rachel's throat closed. Proof of murder. Carter bagged the ledger, her face hard. "This nails Doyle, but Callahan's untouchable. Senator, family ties." Rachel didn't care. She'd expose them all. Rachel visited Teresa at the community center, showing the ledger. "Your uncle knew," she said. Teresa nodded, tears falling. "Joe took cash from Doyle, thought it was for repairs. He saw Bernadette with the ledger, warned her to stop." Rachel's pity mixed with anger. He let her die. Teresa had no answer. Rachel left, decoding another note. C's office, proof. Archbishop Callahan's office. She infiltrated the Archdiocese, finding a 1995 memo in Callahan's files. B's inquiries threatened stability. Handled discreetly. Callahan had ordered the cover-up. Carter called with news. Spotted in Milwaukee, but slipped again. "He's running scared," Carter said. Rachel shared the memo. "Callahan's nephew's involved." Carter cursed. "We need hard evidence. The ledger's old. Juries want fresh." Rachel staked out Senator Callahan's office, spotting a courier drop a package. She followed him to a South Side warehouse, owned by Callahan Properties, linked to Sullivan. Inside, she heard crates being pried open, voices mentioning Doyle's cut. Rachel snapped photos, but a guard spotted her, shouting. She fled, tires screeching. That night, Rachel backed up the ledger scans. A new email waited, anonymous. The senator's money buys silence. Rachel's doorbell rang at 2 a.m. A package, typed note inside. The pier holds one last truth. The final pier marked a nun's end. Its ghosts demanded a reckoning. Rachel. Ortiz opened the anonymous package, her hands trembling. Inside was a typed note. The pier holds one last truth, and a 1995 photo. Sister Bernadette, alone on Navy Pier, her shadow long in the moonlight. It was August 20th, 2022, her Chicago apartment a fortress of secrets. The ledger from Doyle's vault named the O'Brien Syndicate's players, but Father Patrick Doyle was gone, and Senator Callahan's power loomed. The pier, the video of Bernadette's murder, was calling Rachel back. She sent the photo to Detective Lena Carter, writing, "We're missing a witness from that night." Carter replied, "Stay put. We're raiding Callahan's warehouse." But Rachel couldn't wait. She needed to see the pier. Rachel drove to a pier at Navy Pier, the wind colder now, waves crashing like they had in '95. She retraced Bernadette's steps, imagining her meeting with Sullivan and Doyle. A glint caught her eye, a rusted ring half buried in the sand near the pier's end. She pried it free. A silver band engraved with SC 1990, St. Cecilia's Bernadette's ordination year. Rachel's breath caught. She bagged it, calling Carter. This was hers. Someone left it for me. Carter was at the warehouse raid. Found cash, no guns. Doyle's in custody, caught crossing into Canada. He's talking. Rachel's relief mixed with dread. What would he say? Rachel confronted Senator Callahan at a Chicago gala, showing the ledger. "Your family's dirty," she said. Callahan's face was stone, but, "You're chasing fairy tales, Ms. Ortiz. The church is clean." Rachel held her ground. "Bernadette's ledger says otherwise." Callahan's eyes flickered, but he walked away, his security closing in. Rachel left, but Carter called with Doyle's confession. He admits to shooting Bernadette, claims Sullivan ordered it to protect the syndicate. Says Callahan's uncle knew. Rachel's anger roared. "And the senator?" Carter sighed. "Doyle's got no proof on him." Rachel decoded a final note. Witness, Pier, 11/3/95, J.K., Father James Kelly, the archivist. She met Kelly at a Chicago church showing the ring. Kelly broke. "I followed Bernadette that night," he said, his voice shaking. "Saw Doyle shoot her. I kept quiet. Callahan threatened my family." Rachel's pity burned. "You let her die." Kelly gave her a 1995 letter, his own, to Callahan, begging for forgiveness for his silence. Rachel took it, vowing justice. That night, Rachel's car was followed home, its headlights blinding. She lost it, but at her apartment found a note. "The truth is in the ledger." Carter called, voice tense. "We found a second body in Lake Michigan. Male, 95. Father Malone, shot with Doyle's gun." The syndicate's reach a second body sank with a priest's guilt. Its discovery named a syndicate that owned Chicago's soul. Rachel Ortiz sat in her Chicago apartment, Detective Lena Carter's death call echoing, "Father Malone, shot with Doyle." It was August 25th, 2022, the note. The truth is in the ledger, beside her, Bernadette's sister ledger. Frank Malone, the 1995 detective, was murdered, likely for his taking syndicate money to bury Bernadette's case. The ring from the pier, and Father James Kelly's letter were proof, but Senator Callahan's shadow loomed. Rachel sent the letter to Carter, writing, "Malone was their witness." Carter replied, "Doyle's naming Callahan's uncle, but the senator's senator is untouchable. Stay safe." Rachel felt the syndicate's reach, her every step watched. Carter met Rachel at CPD, showing Malone's autopsy. Shot with a .40 caliber, same as Bernadette, weighted with Sullivan's concrete. They cleaned house, Carter said. Rachel shared Kelly's letter, detailing Malone's Pier meeting with Sullivan. Malone saw Bernadette's murder, took a payoff. Carter pulled Malone's bank. $20,000 in '95, unmarked, after the murders. He sold out, Rachel said, bitter. Carter nodded, but Doyle's plea deal's shaky. He's blaming Sullivan, who's dead. Callahan's lawyers are everywhere. Rachel vowed to nail Callahan. Rachel revisited the pier, imagining Malone's betrayal. A homeless man, Sam, watched her, muttering. "You're like her," Sam, he said, asking questions. Rachel bought him coffee, showing Bernadette's photo. Sam nodded. She was here, 95, with a priest. Heard a shot, saw a boat leave. I didn't say nothing. Rachel's heart raced. Which priest? Sam pointed to Doyle's photo. Rachel gave Sam her card, urging him to call Carter. Carter, who'd found Sam's car tail, a Callahan-owned sedan. Rachel infiltrated Callahan's office again, finding a 1995 memo. Sullivan handles cleanup, ensure silence. Calla. Rachel photographed it, but a guard approached, shouting. She escaped, barely. Carter called with news. Doyle's trial's set, but he's hinting at a bigger player, someone above Callahan. Rachel decoded a note. Boss, not O'Brien. A higher boss. That night, Rachel backed up her evidence. A new email, anonymous, a 1995 audio clip of Callahan's voice. Handle the nun, or we're all done. Done. Rachel's door rattled. Carter called, shouting. Callahan's office was hit, firebombed. Someone's erasing you. You. The Syndicate's End a fire consumed a senator's lies. A nun's truth rose from the flames. The Chicago skyline glittered against the August night, its lights a cold contrast to the darkness swallowing Rachel Ortiz's heart. It was August 30, 2022, and she stood on Navy Pier, the wind whipping her hair, Sister Bernadette's silver ring heavy in her pocket. The audio clip, Archbishop Thomas Callahan's chilling order, "Handle the nun or we're all done," still echoed in her mind, sent anonymously hours ago. Detective Lena Carter's warning about the firebombing of Senator John Callahan's office rang louder. Someone was erasing evidence, and Rachel was next. The ledger from Father Patrick Doyle's vault, the pier ring, Father James Kelly's confession letter, and Sam's witness account of that fatal 1995 night. They all pointed to a truth Bernadette had died for, a criminal syndicate woven through St. Cecilia's convent had laundered millions with the church's blessing. Rachel clutched her phone, Carter's last words replaying. "We're raiding Callahan's home. Stay put." But Rachel couldn't stay put. This ended where it began, on the pier where her aunt took her final stand. The pier stretched into Lake Michigan, its boards creaking under Rachel's boots, waves crashing like a requiem. She'd come to feel Bernadette's courage, to imagine her facing Doyle and Eddie Sullivan that November night in 1995. The ring, engraved SC 1990, was Bernadette's ordination gift, left in the sand for Rachel to find. Someone had wanted her to keep digging, a whistleblower perhaps, or a guilt-ridden soul. Rachel scanned the pier, its Ferris wheel dark, tourists gone. A figure moved in the shadows near the pier's end, too tall to be Carter. Rachel's pulse spiked, her hand tightening on the pepper spray in her jacket. "Who's there?" she called, voice cutting through the wind. No answer, just the crunch of gravel underfoot, fading fast. She reached the spot where the ring had lain, kneeling to search for more. Nothing but sand and memory. Then a glint caught her eye. A silver key, half buried, etched with Vault 2B. Another vault? Rachel's breath hitched. The Syndicate's secrets weren't all in Doyle's bank box. Her phone buzzed, shattering the silence. Carter, her voice low, urgent. "Rachel, we hit Callahan's mansion. Found a hidden office, files, cash, A laptop with Syndicate names, bigger than we thought. He's in cuffs, but he's not talking. "Where are you?" Rachel whispered. "Navy Pier. I found a key. Another vault." Carter cursed, cursing. Don't touch it." "Doyle's spilling. Says Callahan's uncle ran the O'Brien Syndicate's Chicago front. Used St. Cecilia's to wash drug money. He shot Bernadette and Malone to keep them quiet. We need that key." Rachel pocketed it, her mind racing. Frank. Malone, the 1995 detective, had been found in the lake, shot with Doyle's gun, a traitor paid to bury her case. "What about the senator?" Rachel asked. Carter's sigh was heavy. "Doyle's got no direct link to him, but the laptop's got emails. John Callahan wired money to Doyle in '96 after the murders. We're building a case." Rachel hung up, the key burning in her hand. Vault 2B held the final proof, and she'd find it. Rachel drove to First Chicago Bank, the city a blur of lights and dread. The vault from Doyle's ledger was her last clue, but this new key suggested a second safe, hidden deeper. She called Carter, who met her outside the bank, her squad car idling. "You're reckless," Carter said, taking the key. "This better be worth it." The vault manager, shaken by the police presence, confirmed Vault 2B. Rented under John Callahan, opened in 1996, untouched since. Rachel's stomach twisted. The senator, not the bishop? Carter unlocked the box, revealing a stack of microfilm reels, a sealed envelope, and a 1995 ledger, its cover embossed with O'Brien Syndicate. Rachel opened the envelope. Photos of Doyle, Sullivan, Bishop Callahan, and a young John Callahan at St. Cecilia's, overseeing cash stacks. The ledger listed transfers, $5 million through the parish, signed by John, then a law clerk. "He was in it from the start," Rachel whispered. Carter bagged the evidence, her face grim. "This ties the senator to the murders, but he's got friends, cops, judges. We need airtight." Back at CPD headquarters, Rachel sat in Carter's office, the microfilm projected on a screen. It was grainy surveillance from St. Cecilia's in 1995, Bernadette in the convent office arguing, with Doyle pointing at a ledger. A shadow moved, Bishop Callahan watching from the door. The footage cut to the pier, where Doyle fired, Bernadette crumpling, Malone dragging her body to a boat. Rachel's eyes burned with tears, her aunt's courage searing her soul. The final reel showed John Callahan in 1996, handing Sullivan an envelope, whispering, "The nun's gone, keep it that way." Carter exhaled. "This is it, Rachel. He's done." Rachel nodded, but her gut churned. Why had someone kept this footage? And who'd sent it to her? Carter interrogated Senator Callahan, his polished facade crumbling under the evidence. Rachel watched through the glass, watched, his face pale, hands cuffed. "You're nothing without my uncle," Callahan spat, spitting at Carter. "The church needed the money and she wouldn't shut up." Rachel's fists clenched. "Who ordered the shot?" Carter pressed. Callahan smirked. Doyle pulled the trigger, but the order came from above, way above. Rachel's breath caught. Above Bishop Callahan? Carter leaned in, but Callahan clammed up, his lawyer storming in. Rachel left, shaken. The syndicate's head was still, out there, hidden in Chicago's power. Rachel revisited St. Cecilia's Community Center, now a memorial garden for Bernadette, its roses blooming despite the August heat. Teresa Vega, the manager, met her, eyes wet. "We're naming a scholarship after her," Teresa said, handing Rachel a plaque. "Sister Bernadette, seeker of truth." Rachel traced the words, her grief softening. She told Teresa about the vault. "Your dad knew about the money," Rachel said gently. Teresa nodded, nodding. "He took cash to stay quiet, thought it was for the kids. He'd be proud of you." Rachel doubted it, but let it go. She walked to the chapel, now a quiet room, and knelt where Bernadette had prayed. A memory surfaced, her aunt's voice, soft, soft. The numbers tell the truth, Rachel. She'd kept that promise. Carter called with updates. Doyle pleaded guilty to Bernadette's and Malone's murders, naming Bishop Callahan as the mastermind. Sullivan's death closed his chapter, but his ledgers corroborated the Syndicate's reach. Senator Callahan faced RICO charges, his political career ash after the firebombing tied to his crew. The microfilm, sent by an archivist who'd worked under Bishop Callahan, broke the case. Father James Kelly, guilt-ridden, had mailed it anonymously. Sam, the pier witness, testified, his voice steady in court. But the bigger boss, Doyle hinted at, a figure above the bishop, remained a shadow, untouchable. Carter sighed, sighing. We'll keep digging. But you've done enough, Rachel. Rachel wasn't sure she had. That night, Rachel sat in her apartment, the Bible open, its code silent now. She backed up the microfilm, the ledger scans, the audio clip, her evidence safe. A final envelope arrived, typed, no signature. The truth is free. Sister Bernadette rests. Rachel burned it, her mission complete. She drove to Navy Pier one last time, scattering rose petals into Lake Michigan, the ring gleaming on her finger. "You're home, Aunt Bernadette," she whispered. The city hummed on, its secrets buried, but her aunt's light endured. Chicago woke to headlines. Senator indicted in nun's 1995 murder. Church scandal rocks city. St. Cecilia's garden grew, a beacon for the curious, the faithful, the broken. Rachel walked away, her accounting job waiting, but her grief was lighter now. The Syndicate's end wasn't clean, but it was hers to claim. And somewhere, Bernadette smiled, her ledger closed. Thank you for staying through this chilling tale of truth and betrayal. If Sister Bernadette's story gripped you, like, share, and subscribe to a Flickr Soul for more mysteries that refuse to stay buried. What secrets does your city hold? Tell us below, and we'll see you in the next dark chapter.